The crowded starport of Jarlin Prime buzzed with life. Alien species from hundreds of systems moved through the sprawling docking bays. Ships of every shape and size hovered or sat anchored, their designs as varied as the races that built them. Sleek scout ships, heavily armored dreadnoughts, and massive carriers gleamed under the artificial sunlight. Everywhere, commanders boasted loudly to anyone who would listen about the power of their fleets. Humans had always been rare visitors in this sector. Many aliens regarded them with mild curiosity. Some even considered them amusing, primitive, or quaint. For decades, humanity's influence had been limited. Their technology had not always matched the advanced systems of the galactic powers around them. And so, when a human supercarrier appeared in the distance, most of the alien officers simply laughed. The ship was enormous. There was no doubt about that. But it looked old. Its hull was thick and angular, not sleek like the latest Clethar or Vorian ships. Panels bore signs of wear, and large segments of the carrier looked utilitarian, almost crude to alien eyes. Docking thrusters hissed and glowed as the ship slowly maneuvered into position. Its surface reflected the lights of the port, but it gave off no shimmer of stealth or energy radiance like newer ships. "Is that their warship?" a Vorian admiral whispered, narrowing his 3 eyes. "It looks ancient." "Ancient?" scoffed a Xandari captain nearby. "It could be older than the oldest sun in this sector. Look at those edges. And those engines, pathetic. If they try to fight, they will be dust in a blink." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Even the Clethar officers known for their discipline smirked as they exchanged glances. "I thought humans were supposed to be clever," said one Clethar, colonel. "Yet their idea of a supercarrier looks like a relic from the past." Inside the human ship, Captain Elias Mercer leaned back in his command chair, observing the port through the massive viewport. He did not smile, though he had heard the laughter. He had expected it. In fact, he hoped they laughed. The aliens. Scorn would make their surprise all the more satisfying. "Captain," said Lieutenant Aria Vaughn, a young communications officer sitting nearby. "Sensors show they're scanning us. Some of them are broadcasting mockery. They're laughing, Elias." "Good," he said calmly. "Let them think they understand us. They don't." His voice was steady, full of quiet confidence. "They have no idea what this ship can do." The crew worked methodically. Technicians moved down the hallways, checking systems, running diagnostics. The supercarrier had been designed decades ago, yes, but it was no museum piece. Its appearance was intentional, a careful disguise to hide the most advanced technologies humanity had ever developed. Its outer hull was strong, yes, but its true power lay within. Adaptive energy shields, automated drone defenses, experimental weapons capable of destroying larger alien vessels, and an AI system sophisticated enough to manage the entire fleet if necessary. From the portside docking bay, a group of engineers adjusted energy couplings that would allow the carrier to draw power from the station temporarily. They moved quickly and confidently. Every hand, every motion had been trained for this moment. This was not a ship that relied on flashy appearances or alien admiration. It relied on function, endurance, and the ingenuity of humans. Outside, the aliens continued their taunting. A young Xandari officer floated near a Vorian commander, pointing at the carrier. "You see that? That's their pride. You think they can do anything with that rust bucket?" The Vorian snorted. "Rust bucket? It probably won't even leave the dock without exploding. Humans, they think they can play in our league, but they have no idea." "Do you think they even know how to fight?" asked the Xandari. "They might know," the Vorian said, "but it won't matter. Old ships, old tactics. Nothing humans do has ever surprised us." Captain Mercer's eyes scanned the activity outside. He did not need to reply. He knew their assumptions already. Humans were underestimated in every corner of the galaxy. Time and time again, humans had proven clever, resourceful, and fearless. qualities aliens did not always respect. And now this supercarrier, disguised as an ancient relic, was ready to remind the galaxy why humans should never be mocked. "Lieutenant," he said, turning his attention back to Arya. "Prepare the message. Let's introduce ourselves properly." Arya nodded, her fingers flying across the console. A calm, firm voice carried over the port's universal communication channels. "This is Captain Elias Mercer of the United Earth Defense Supercarrier Resolute. We are here to dock safely. Civilians and station personnel are not to be harmed." The aliens paused. Their laughter faltered slightly. "A polite threat," one Clithar officer muttered. "Curious. They speak with confidence." Mercer did not wait for their response. Docking clamps extended with precision, and the carrier's engines whined softly as it settled into position. Crew members began routine procedures for connecting with the station, unaware or unconcerned about the alien whispers. A group of young human pilots watched from a smaller shuttle, ready to escort the carrier if needed. Among them was Lieutenant Jordan Miles, a rookie pilot who had never faced a real alien threat in combat. His hands trembled slightly as he looked at the massive human ship, dwarfed by the alien warships surrounding them. "Don't worry," said Sergeant Lin, his instructor, patting Jordan on the shoulder. "This ship doesn't need us to impress anyone. Let the aliens laugh. When the time comes, they'll regret every word." Jordan swallowed hard, trying to calm his racing heart. "But it looks so old," he admitted. "That's the point," Sergeant Lin said with a grin. "Old-looking, boring, predictable, and that's why they'll never see what's coming. For hours, the humans went about their work quietly. Engineers monitored power flows. Weapons systems were run through, dry tests. The AI core hummed softly, coordinating with crew members to verify readiness. Every step was precise, every action deliberate. Outside, alien officers continued their commentary, unaware that they were observing a carefully orchestrated show of misdirection. By evening, the station lights reflected off the carrier's dull gray hull. Its massive bulk was impressive, yes, but still unimposing to the aliens. Several alien officers leaned over their observation decks, exchanging skeptical whispers. "They built that?" one Xandari said. "It looks like a relic from the old wars." "They must be joking," said a Clithar admiral. "If that is their flagship, we have nothing to fear." Inside the carrier, Mercer gathered his senior officers. "Tomorrow, we begin our mission," he said. "Today, let them see only the outside. Let them think this ship is outdated. Tomorrow, they will see humanity's truth. Until then, we wait and we prepare." Arya looked at him, concern and excitement mingling on her face. "Do you really think—" "I know," Mercer said simply. "They have no idea what humans are capable of, and when they find out, it will be too late to laugh." Night fell over Jarlan Prime. The supercarrier sat quietly in the docking bay, enormous and unassuming. Aliens continued their observations, some curious, some still mocking, all unaware that beneath its worn exterior lay a force designed to change the galaxy's perception of humanity forever. Above all, humans moved with purpose, silent and determined. Each crew member understood the unspoken truth. Appearances could deceive, and underestimation was humanity's greatest weapon. As the stars glittered in the void beyond the viewport, Mercer thought of the countless colonies, the frontier worlds, under threat, and the long years humans had endured while the galaxy laughed at them. Tomorrow, that would end. The supercarrier was ready. Humanity was ready. And the galaxy would soon learn a lesson it would never forget. Humans might look old-fashioned, even ancient, but when the time came, they could wield power with unmatched cunning, courage, and precision. The laughter of the aliens echoed faintly through the docking bay. a sound that would haunt them sooner than they imagined. The human supercarrier Resolute sat quietly in the docking bay of Jarlan Prime, its enormous bulk still unassuming to the alien observers. To the galaxy outside, it looked old, worn, and almost primitive, but inside, it was a different story. Captain Elias Mercer walked down the main corridor, accompanied by Lieutenant Aria Vaughn and Commander Harlan Royce, the ship's chief engineer. The faint hum of the carrier's systems filled the air, a constant reminder of the immense power lying beneath its plain hull. "This ship looks old," Aria said quietly, glancing at the dull gray walls of the corridor. "I can't believe anyone could think this is impressive." "Exactly," Mercer replied with a small smile. "That's the point. The galaxy will always judge humans by appearances. We've used that to our advantage for decades. Let them think this ship is ancient. They'll never see the real power inside." Commander Royce nodded. "We've tested the energy shields. Adaptive response is online. Drone systems are active. Weapons calibration is complete. The AI is ready to coordinate every system. We're as prepared as we can be." Aria looked around, impressed despite herself. "It's incredible. All of it hidden beneath a hull that looks like it belongs in a museum. How did humans even manage this?" "That's ingenuity," Mercer said simply. "We don't just rely on technology. We think ahead, plan, and use what others overlook. The Clithar and Xandari never saw it coming. That's why they laugh now, but their laughter will end soon." Deep within the carrier, engineers worked in shifts, checking systems few people outside the crew even knew existed. The Resolute had layers of defenses and redundancies designed for battles against enemies. Far stronger than humans, adaptive shields could react in milliseconds, altering frequency and intensity to neutralize incoming energy weapons. The ship's automated drones could swarm and disable larger enemy vessels before they even realized what happened, and the AI, codenamed Prometheus, could simultaneously manage fleet maneuvers, weapon targeting, and life support without human input, though Mercer preferred to make the final decisions himself. In the engineering bay, Commander Royce oversaw a series of tests on the supercarrier's experimental weapons. A long-range railgun capable of firing projectiles at near-light speed had been dormant for years, waiting for this moment. Plasma cannons that could pierce through the toughest alien armor hummed quietly, their energy coils glowing faintly under the dim lights. And hidden in secret compartments, missile bays held weapons designed to confuse and disable enemy fleets using electromagnetic pulses and holographic decoys. "This is more than a ship," Royce muttered to himself, watching the systems come online. "It's a statement. Humans didn't just build a supercarrier, we built a legend." In the observation deck, Mercer and Aria watched alien officers continue to stare at the Resolute with suspicion and curiosity. Despite their mockery, some of the aliens had begun to notice anomalies. Shields flickering strangely, energy signatures that didn't match an old ship, movement that was too precise for a mere relic. "They're starting to question," Aria said. "Let them," Mercer replied. "They won't understand until it's too late." Meanwhile, in the hangar bays, human pilots prepared their fighters and shuttles for deployment. Each pilot ran simulations, drilling tactics and maneuvers, until every response was automatic. These were humans who had trained in death world conditions, adapted to extreme environments, and survived situations most alien species would have found impossible. Lieutenant Jordan Miles, still a rookie but eager to prove himself, approached. "Sergeant Lin." "Sir." "The ship looks so old, so slow. Are we really going to be able to use it against the alien fleets?" Sergeant Lin smiled, shaking his head. "It's not the looks that matter, kid. It's what's inside. That old supercarrier is smarter than any of their ships, faster than most, and stronger than all of them combined. If we play it right, we'll change the galaxy's opinion of humans in one strike." Jordan swallowed hard, trying to imagine the possibilities. He had read the ship's manuals, studied the schematics, but seeing the systems in person was overwhelming. Even more so knowing that the aliens outside believed this was an easy target. Across the ship, engineers monitored the AI core, ensuring Prometheus had complete access to all systems. The AI was silent, observing everything, ready to act at a moment's notice. Mercer often reflected on the irony of it. Aliens relied on flashy technology, overcomplicated weapons, and brute force, while humans built efficiency, adaptability, and cleverness into everything they did. "Captain," Royce said, joining Mercer on the observation deck. "All systems are nominal. Weapons, shields, drones, propulsion, everything is ready. We could leave the dock at any moment and take on a fleet twice our size." Mercer nodded. "And we will, soon. But patience is our weapon too. For now, let the galaxy watch and laugh. Let them mock our appearance. Let them believe humans are small, weak, and outdated. When we strike, their shock will be far greater than any attack we launch." In the docking bay below, human crew members moved supplies, checked engines, and prepared fighters for deployment. The hum of energy from the ship's engines was steady, a constant heartbeat that reminded everyone aboard that the Resolute was far from ordinary. Outside, the alien officers continued to mock. "That ship is ancient," one Clythar admiral growled, shaking his tentacle-like appendages. "We could destroy it in minutes if we wanted." Another alien commander leaned closer, curiosity creeping into his voice. "Why are their shields flickering like that? It's unusual." "Yes," the first replied, "but it's probably a malfunction. Old ships always have malfunctions." Mercer, watching from the viewport, allowed a small smirk. Malfunctions. That was exactly what the aliens thought. But the flickering shields were deliberate. They were a test, a demonstration of the ship's adaptive systems. The AI was scanning, analyzing, and preparing countermeasures for every conceivable attack. The aliens were already falling into the trap of underestimating humans. "Arya," Mercer said, turning back to the young officer, "send a small demonstration. Nothing that will hurt them, but enough to show the anomalies. Let curiosity get the better of them." Arya nodded, fingers flying across her console. Within minutes, a subtle energy pulse radiated from the Resolute, bouncing off nearby satellites and creating faint distortions in the sensor readings of alien ships. Monitors aboard the alien observation decks flickered, systems recalibrating. To unexpected data. "What is this?" one Xandari officer muttered. "The ship. It's doing things it shouldn't be able to do." "They must be cheating," another said. "Humans are not advanced enough for this." Mercer's eyes gleamed. They were finally reacting, not with fear, but with confusion. That confusion would soon become panic. As night fell over the station, the Resolute remained in dock, its massive silhouette blending with the shadows. Inside, humans moved calmly and purposefully, aware that the first strike would define the galaxy's opinion of their kind. "Captain," Arya said, breaking the silence, "the AI reports that all systems are fully operational. Prometheus is ready." Mercer nodded, his gaze steady on the stars beyond the viewport. "Good. Tomorrow, we remind the galaxy why humans should never be underestimated. It's time the laughter ends." The young pilots practiced maneuvers in the hangar simulators. Engineers double-checked every system, and crew members prepared for the launch. Every human aboard the supercarrier understood one simple truth: appearances could deceive. The Resolute may have looked like an ancient relic to outsiders, but inside, it was the culmination of centuries of human ingenuity, determination, and strategic foresight. And when the aliens realized the truth, their laughter would die in an instant. For now the galaxy watched the quiet, unassuming ship, unaware that it held the key to humanity's long-awaited retribution. The day dawned over Yarlan Prime, with pale light reflecting off the hulls of ships in the busy starport. Outside, alien fleets watched the human supercarrier Resolute with barely concealed amusement. Their scanners still marked it as an outdated relic. The laughter of officers echoed through the observation decks of alien warships, but inside the Resolute, the human crew prepared for action with calm precision. Captain Elias Mercer stood on the bridge, overlooking the hangar bays below. Fighters lined up in perfect formation, ready to launch. Engineers performed last-minute checks on weapons and shields, while Lieutenant Aria Vaughn coordinated communications with the station and fleet. Every crew member knew the stakes. This was humanity's chance to show the galaxy their strength, not with flash or arrogance, but with ingenuity and courage. "Captain," Aria said, her fingers moving quickly across the console. "All systems are green. Fighters are armed, shields are at maximum, and the AI is ready to assist in fleet coordination. We are cleared for departure." Mercer nodded. "Good. Let's move out. Stay focused. Remember, the galaxy believes we are weak, outdated, and predictable. Let's prove them wrong." Below in the hangar, rookie pilot Lieutenant Jordan Miles gripped the controls of his fighter. He could see the massive supercarrier above him, and he could see the alien fleets beyond. His palms were sweaty, but he felt a strange calm as well. He had trained for this his entire life, and now the moment had arrived. Sergeant Lin leaned over him. "Remember, kid, it's not about how fast you are or how flashy your maneuvers look. It's about thinking, predicting, and using what others overlook. Humans survive because we adapt. We strike when they least expect it. Follow your training." Jordan swallowed and nodded. "Yes, sir." Outside the port, the alien fleets began to stir. Some ships moved into formation, scanning the Resolute with cautious interest. Despite their laughter earlier, suspicion had begun to creep in. The subtle energy fluctuations from the supercarrier had been noted, and a few alien captains whispered about the anomalies. "They're hiding something," muttered a Clethar admiral. "No ship that old should have those readings. Prepare for engagement." "They're bluffing," another alien replied. "Humans? Outmatch us? Impossible. Their ships are ancient relics, nothing more." Meanwhile, the Resolute prepared its first strike. Mercer and his senior officers gathered around the tactical display, mapping the enemy formations. The AI, Prometheus, suggested several strategies, analyzing the strengths and weaknesses of the alien fleets. Mercer considered each option carefully. "Launch the drones first," he ordered. "Use them to probe their defenses, but keep them in patterns they will underestimate. After that, our fighters move in coordinated waves. Let the aliens think they are in control. We will strike from unexpected angles, using their assumptions against them." Aria watched the simulation display. "The AI predicts 87% probability of success with this plan. The remaining risk comes from unknown alien countermeasures." "Then we adapt," Mercer said firmly. "Humans don't rely on probability alone. We improvise. We endure. We win." As the carrier moved out of the dock, alien eyes widened. The ship's engines flared quietly, almost silently, with a sudden burst of speed no one expected from its size. The supercarrier glided past the port with surprising grace, its movements precise and deliberate. "Impossible," a Xandari officer muttered, staring at the display. "That ship is huge. It shouldn't move like that." Inside the Resolute, fighters launched in formation. Jordan's heart pounded as his squadron shot forward, flanking the alien fleet. Automated drones moved ahead of the carriers, creating a web of electromagnetic interference and holographic decoys. The alien scanners flickered as they attempted to track multiple targets at once. The first contact came quickly. A Clethar frigate fired at the advancing human drones. The drones split, swerving at impossible angles, and then returned fire with plasma bolts aimed precisely at the frigate's weak points. Within seconds, the ship's shields faltered, and it exploded in a blinding flash. "Direct hit!" Jordan shouted, surprised by the sheer efficiency of the attack. Other young pilots echoed his excitement as the alien fleet reacted, trying to regroup. "Do not underestimate them," Mercer's voice came over the comms. "They assume we are predictable. We are anything but. Maintain formation and strike. Together." Wave after wave of human fighters launched, each movement carefully coordinated. The Resolute fired its main weapons from hidden ports, energy beams slicing through alien shields that were designed to withstand far greater power. The aliens panicked. They had expected a small, weak human force, but they were facing tactics and technology they could not anticipate. "This can't be happening," a Vorian admiral yelled. "The humans? They're too organized, too precise. Their ships move like they've anticipated our moves." "They must have spies," another commander shouted, desperation creeping into his voice. "They have none," Mercer thought. Quietly. "This is not espionage. This is human ingenuity. We think, we adapt, we overcome." Even the aliens who had mocked the Resolute now faced the reality of human strategy. The so-called ancient supercarrier was a marvel of design, combining raw firepower with adaptive defense and precise control. It was not the ship alone that was dangerous. It was the humans inside it, working as one mind, anticipating and responding to threats faster than the aliens could react. Jordan and his fellow pilots pushed their fighters to the limit, weaving through enemy fire, targeting weak points, and covering one another. Every move had been drilled and tested, but improvisation was also key. The AI suggested optimal paths and targets, but the human pilots added their own judgment and experience, creating patterns of attack the aliens could not predict. By the time the first hour of combat ended, several alien ships lay destroyed, their debris drifting in the void. The alien commanders stared at their tactical displays in disbelief. They underestimated them," muttered a Clither captain. "We thought it was just a relic, a toy. But it's a weapon. And they're humans?" "They built this?" another asked, voice trembling. "It's impossible. No human technology should be capable of this." Inside the Resolute, Mercer allowed himself a small nod of satisfaction. The first strike had succeeded. The aliens' assumptions had been their weakness. Humans had used strategy, precision, and courage to turn what should have been an unequal battle into an overwhelming advantage. "Captain," Arya said, eyes wide with excitement, "the alien fleets are breaking formation. They're retreating in some sectors. Our fighters, our drones, they're causing chaos." "Good," Mercer replied. "Maintain pressure, but don't overextend. Let them underestimate us a little longer. The longer they think this is a small force, the harder they will fall." As the Resolute and its squadron pressed the attack, alien communication networks filled with frantic messages. Reports of destroyed ships, disrupted formations, and strange energy readings spread like wildfire. Officers who had once laughed now shouted orders in panic, trying to respond to tactics they could not predict. Jordan's squadron targeted a Vorian destroyer attempting to flank the humans. Using the carrier's adaptive shields for cover, they weaved through enemy fire and struck the ship's vulnerable energy nodes. A massive explosion rocked the destroyer, sending fragments spinning into space. "We did it!" Jordan shouted, disbelief mixing with exhilaration. He had faced simulations before, but nothing compared to this reality. The aliens had laughed at them, and now they were crumbling under human tactics and determination. Back on the bridge, Mercer observed the larger picture. Alien fleets were in disarray. Many ships had retreated, some had been destroyed, and the rest were attempting to regroup. Yet every move they made played into human hands. Prometheus calculated outcomes and recommended next steps, while human officers adjusted plans in real time. The combination of AI efficiency and human intuition made the Resolute unstoppable. "Prepare for the next wave," Mercer said calmly. "We are just getting started." Let the galaxy see the strength humans have hidden for decades. As the Resolute moved forward, the first strike ended with an unmistakable message. Humans were not weak. Humans were not predictable. And the supercarrier that aliens had laughed at was no relic. It was a harbinger of humanity's arrival as a true power in the galaxy. The alien laughter had died. In its place was disbelief, fear, and a growing realization. Humans had built something far beyond expectations, and the galaxy would never mock them again. The remnants of the alien fleets retreated in chaos, but Captain Elias Mercer knew the battle was far from over. The galaxy had seen the first strike, and the humans had won a stunning advantage, but the aliens would regroup. They were relentless, and now they were enraged. The Resolute moved with steady purpose through the void. Its massive hull cut through space like a slow-moving mountain, but every system inside hummed with power. Adaptive shields, drone fleets, and hidden weapons were all active and ready. Mercer stood on the bridge, observing the battlefield through the ship's array of sensors. "Captain," Lieutenant Aria Vaughn said, her fingers flying across the console. "The Clithar are regrouping near the Nebula sector. They're sending reinforcements, including a battle group of Vorian heavy cruisers. They've learned from the first strike. They're cautious now." "Good," Mercer said, voice calm but firm. "We want them cautious. Let them underestimate our reach. Prepare the fighters and drones. We strike in coordination, not with brute force, but with precision." Commander Harlan Royce stepped forward. "Captain, I suggest splitting the fleet into 3 waves. The first wave draws attention. The second hits their flanks, and the third, our supercarrier, strikes where they are weakest." The AI agrees with this strategy. Mercer nodded. "Do it. Timing will be critical. Remember, we are humans. We improvise, we adapt, and we strike together." In the hangar bays, pilots ran through pre-flight checks. Jordan Miles, still feeling the exhilaration of the first strike, adjusted his flight suit. He glanced at the Resolute's hull and felt pride swell in his chest. "That ship, it's more than a warship," he said quietly to Sergeant Lin. "It's a weapon of hope." Lin smiled. "Hope, yes, but also precision, patience, and courage. Today, we make the aliens realize humans are not just survivors. We are a force they cannot ignore." The first wave launched quietly, drones moving ahead to create disturbances in enemy sensors, masking the movements of human fighters. Alien ships scanned the distortions but could not make sense of them. Their formations, once confident and rigid, now wavered under invisible pressure. Jordan's squadron advanced alongside the drones. Every pilot executed maneuvers with flawless timing, striking at weak points and drawing attention from the main battle. The aliens fired their energy weapons, but the human adaptive shields absorbed and redirected most attacks. Drones swarmed to intercept the rest, disabling enemy systems with precision strikes. "Look at them go," Arya said, astonished. "They're not just reacting, they're controlling the battle." Mercer allowed himself a small smile. "That's humans. Always one step ahead." Meanwhile, the second wave attacked the enemy flanks. Hidden weapons on the Resolute opened, firing plasma bolts and railgun shots at angles the aliens could not anticipate. Entire sections of enemy ships were crippled before they could respond. The alien admirals shouted orders, but confusion spread like wildfire. The more they tried to adjust, the more humans exploited their mistakes. "Captain," Royce said urgently, "the AI has detected a vulnerable Vorian cruiser at the rear of their formation. If we strike now, we can disable their command ship and disrupt the rest of their fleet." Mercer's eyes narrowed. "Then we strike. Aria, alert all units. Focus fire on that target, but remember precision. Avoid collateral damage to the sectors with civilians." The human fleet executed the maneuver flawlessly. The Resolute fired from hidden ports, hitting the Vorian cruiser's weak points. Explosions rippled across the enemy ship, and its systems failed one by one. Within minutes, it drifted powerless, a target for follow-up strikes by human fighters. Alien officers on observation decks stared in disbelief. How are they doing this?" one Clithar commander shouted. "That ship! It's controlling the entire battlefield!" "They've tricked us," a Xandari officer whispered. "We thought we were attacking one ship, but they're everywhere, hitting us from every direction. They're humans." The realization struck them like a thunderbolt. These humans were not just using their ship's weapons, they were using their minds, their coordination, their ingenuity. Every move was calculated, every strike effective, and every decision clever. The aliens had underestimated them, and now they were paying the price. In the hangar bays, human engineers worked tirelessly to repair minor damage and maintain weapon systems. Every ship was operating at peak efficiency. Humans on board the Resolute were not only fighting, they were adapting, learning, and improving with each moment. Jordan led a squadron into a cluster of enemy ships attempting to retreat. He fired with precision, striking engine cores and disabling weapon systems. His fighters wove through enemy fire, moving like living extensions of the Resolute itself. Each successful strike sent debris and sparks scattering into the void. "Jordan!" Lynn called over the comms. "Excellent work! Keep it up, but watch your six. Vorian interceptors are approaching." Jordan's heart pounded, but he did not falter. Using evasive maneuvers learned from simulations and real training, he led the enemy away from civilian sectors, drawing them into traps set by other human squadrons. The aliens, still shaken by the first strike, fell into patterns designed to confuse them further. Back on the bridge, Mercer observed the battlefield in awe of his crew's skill. "Humans fight differently," he muttered. "We don't just attack. We think, we adapt, we survive, and we win." As the battle raged, the Resolute moved toward the center of enemy formations, activating the AI-assisted systems fully. Automated drones swarmed like invisible shadows, disabling ships, cutting power lines, and opening paths for human fighters. Energy beams fired from hidden ports struck with unerring accuracy, crippling larger enemy vessels that had thought themselves untouchable. Alien admirals were in panic now. "We've never faced tactics like this," one Clithar shouted. "Every move we make, they are ready for it." "They're not just attacking," another alien commander groaned. "They're controlling the entire fight. How is this possible?" In the heart of the action, Jordan felt the adrenaline of battle, but also a deep sense of purpose. Humans had been underestimated for centuries, laughed at, dismissed, and ignored. Now they were showing the galaxy their strength, not through arrogance or numbers, but through courage, ingenuity, and unity. Every shot he fired, every maneuver he executed was a message. Humans are not weak. Humans are not predictable. Humans survive and dominate against impossible odds. The battle reached a turning point when the Resolute targeted a massive Clithar capital ship, the anchor of the enemy fleet. Mercer coordinated a precision strike, combining railgun fire, plasma cannons, and fighter assaults. The enemy ship shuddered under the onslaught, systems failing rapidly as explosions ripped through its hull. Finally, it was destroyed in a spectacular burst of light, leaving the rest of the alien forces in chaos. "They've destroyed the flagship!" an alien observer shouted in disbelief. "Impossible! Humans, how?" "They thought it was a relic," Mercer said quietly, almost to himself. "They judged us by appearances. That was their mistake." As the remaining alien ships scattered, retreating in disorder, human pilots regrouped. The Resolute and its fleet moved forward, not in celebration, but with steady purpose. Every human aboard understood that this was only the beginning. The aliens would return, stronger and more determined, but humanity had proven something essential. They could fight, adapt, and overcome any challenge. Jordan and his squadron returned to the carrier, exhausted but triumphant. "We did it," he whispered to Lynn. "We really did it." Lynn smiled. "Yes, kid. Today we turned the tide. But remember, this is just the start. They will come back and we must be ready. Humanity never gives up. We never surrender. Oikos. The bridge. Mercer addressed his senior officers. The first strike is complete. We have disrupted enemy fleets, destroyed key targets, and proven the galaxy wrong about humans. But this is not the end. We must push forward, coordinate with our colonies, and secure our borders. The aliens will adapt, but so will we. That is the human way. Lieutenant Aria Vaughn added, Captain, the colonies are responding to our message. Many have begun mobilizing their defenses. They see that humans are not helpless. They see hope. Hope, Mercer said, gazing out at the stars. Hope, backed by power and strategy. Today, the galaxy learned something it should have known long ago. Humans are not to be underestimated, and from now on, every enemy we face will think twice before laughing at us. The Resolute and its fleet moved on through the stars, victorious, in their first engagement but aware of the challenges ahead. The aliens had underestimated them, and now the humans were ready to show the galaxy what it truly meant to be a species that could survive, adapt, and dominate. The turning tide had begun, and humanity's retribution was unstoppable. The stars stretched endlessly around the human supercarrier Resolute as it moved deeper into the void beyond Yarlan Prime. Captain Elias Mercer stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the tactical displays. The first engagement had shattered the aliens' confidence, but Mercer knew the war was far from over. Humanity had sent a message, but now they had to secure it. Captain, Lieutenant Aria Vaughn said, her voice steady but filled with urgency. We've tracked the retreating Clithar and Vorian fleets. They're regrouping near the Phaedra cluster. Reinforcements from multiple systems are arriving. They may attempt a counterattack. Mercer nodded. Then we give them no time to organize. Prepare the fleet. We strike quickly, decisively, and with precision. The galaxy will remember. This day, Commander Harlan Royce checked the supercarrier systems one last time. All weapons operational, Captain. Shields at maximum. AI is coordinating fighters and drones for immediate deployment. The fleet is ready. Good, Mercer said. Humans fight not only with strength but with timing. We exploit mistakes before they even realize they exist. That is how we survive and win. In the hangar bays, pilots checked their fighters, reviewing mission plans. Rookie Lieutenant Jordan Miles felt the tension as he adjusted his suit and strapped into his cockpit. The first engagement had tested his nerves, but he had survived. Now he felt a new sense of confidence. Humans were underestimated, yes, but underestimated was an advantage. Sergeant Lin approached him. Listen, kid, the aliens think they know us. They believe our numbers are small, our technology weak, and our tactics predictable. They are wrong. Stick to your training, follow the plan, and improvise where necessary. Today, humanity proves its power again. Jordan nodded, gripping the controls. Yes, sir. I won't let them down. Outside, alien fleets formed hesitant formations, wary after their previous defeat. Clithar admirals barked orders, attempting to reorganize their forces, while Vorian commanders directed fire toward what they believed were weak points in the human advance. Their fear was evident, but their pride prevented them from retreating entirely. From the bridge of the Resolute, Mercer observed the alien fleets. They've learned nothing, he muttered. They still think they can predict us. They still underestimate humans. Arya frowned. Captain, sensors show unusual energy fluctuations in the Vorian heavy cruisers. They may be trying new weapons. Let them, Mercer said calmly. We are ready for anything. Humans adapt faster than they can imagine. We survive and we overcome. That is who we are. The Resolute advanced, deploying drones in strategic patterns to confuse enemy sensors. Fighters launched from the hangar bays, striking in coordinated waves. Each movement was calculated to draw the aliens' attention while preparing the real attack. Adaptive shields absorbed and redirected incoming fire, while hidden weapons fired from concealed ports, hitting the alien fleet at unexpected angles. Jordan's squadron moved with precision, weaving through enemy fire and striking critical systems on multiple Clithar vessels. Explosions lit the void as enemy ships faltered. Drones intercepted missiles and energy blasts, neutralizing the most dangerous attacks before they could reach the human fighters. "They're everywhere!" an alien commander shouted, panic in his voice. "They move too fast, strike too precisely. How is this possible?" "They must be using advanced coordination technology," another exclaimed. "Humans cannot think this fast." "They are humans," Mercer said quietly to Arya, almost as if the aliens could hear him. "They are underestimated, and that is their weakness." The Resolute targeted the Vorian heavy cruiser fleet with devastating precision. Railguns fired projectiles at near-light speed, piercing the enemy's armor. Plasma cannons struck weak, points identified by the AI causing massive damage. Human fighters and drones moved in perfect synchronization, exploiting every flaw in the enemy formation. Jordan led an attack squadron on a retreating Clithar ship. "All units, follow my lead," he shouted over comms. "Focus fire on the engines! Disable them!" The squadron executed the maneuver flawlessly. Energy beams hit the ship's engines, disabling them completely. The Clithar vessel drifted helplessly as debris spun around it. Jordan felt a surge of pride and adrenaline. Humans had taken what they were given, mockery and doubt, and turned it into victory. Back on the bridge, Mercer observed the battlefield. Alien forces were in disarray. Ships were retreating, destroyed, or attempting to regroup. Panic and disbelief spread through the alien ranks. They had laughed at humans, dismissed them as primitive, and now they faced the reality. Humans were not only strong, but clever, coordinated, and relentless. "Prepare the final strike," Mercer ordered. "We finish this before they recover. Target their command ships and largest vessels. Let them understand that humans do not yield, humans do not surrender, and humans do not forget." The human fleet advanced with calculated speed. The Resolute fired from concealed weapons bays, striking the command ships of both the Clithar and Vorian fleets. Explosions rocked the enemy formation. Fighters and drones attacked with flawless coordination, leaving no chance for escape. Alien. Ships fell one by one, their systems failing under human precision. Jordan's squadron moved to intercept an enemy cruiser attempting to escape. "Hold formation! Focus fire!" he commanded. Missiles struck, energy beams cut through armor, and the cruiser exploded in a blinding burst of light. On the bridge, Mercer allowed himself a brief moment of satisfaction. "The galaxy will remember this day," he said quietly. "Humans are not weak. Humans are not predictable. Humans are unstoppable when united." Arya smiled. "Captain, the remaining alien fleets are retreating. Communications show confusion and panic. Many are calling for reinforcements, but they have already lost control of the battle." Mercer nodded. "Good. We maintain pressure, but we do not destroy unnecessarily. Let them understand strength tempered with control. Let the galaxy see humanity as we truly are, strong, clever, and united." The human fleet moved through the remnants of the enemy formation, securing strategic positions and assisting damaged ships where possible. Civilians in nearby systems were warned of danger and evacuated safely. Every action reinforced the humans' reputation. Power without recklessness, strategy without cruelty. Jordan looked around at the devastation, then back at his squadron. "We did it," he whispered. "We really did it." Sergeant Lin nodded. "Yes, kid. We showed them what humans can do. And this is only the beginning. Humans will continue to grow stronger, smarter, and more respected in the galaxy. They will never underestimate us again." On the bridge, Mercer turned to his senior officers. "Today we have proven a point. We have shown the galaxy that humans build not only ships, but hope, courage, and strategy. We have demonstrated that appearances can deceive, that judgment based on looks is folly, and that humanity's ingenuity is unmatched. Arya added, "Captain, our colonies have received the reports. Many are mobilizing and preparing to contribute to our defense. They see humans not as weak settlers, but as a force to be respected." "Good," Mercer said. "Let this be a turning point. The aliens will think twice before mocking humans again. Today the Resolute has done more than fight a battle. It has changed perception across the galaxy." As the human fleet regrouped, the stars around them reflected the light of the destroyed alien ships, glimmering reminders of victory. The Resolute sailed steadily, unyielding, carrying humanity's message. Underestimated once, never again. Jordan gazed out at the stars. "We've changed the galaxy," he said softly. "They laughed at us, and now they know humans are not to be mocked." Sergeant Lin placed a hand on his shoulder. "Yes, kid. Today we became a warning. Tomorrow we will continue to be a force they cannot ignore. Remember this feeling, because this is what it means to be human. Courage, ingenuity, and the will to survive against all odds." Mercer looked out at the stars, thinking of the battles yet to come. The galaxy would resist, it would adapt, it would challenge, but humans had shown their truth. They were not weak, they were not outdated, and they were certainly not to be underestimated. The Resolute moved forward, leading the human fleet with quiet strength and unwavering purpose. The alien fleets had learned a hard lesson. Mocking humans was a mistake. Underestimating them was deadly. And now, humanity's place in the galaxy was secure, respected, and feared. The laughter that once echoed across the stars was gone. In its place stood awe, disbelief, and a newfound understanding. Humans were a force unlike any other, and the galaxy would never forget the day the Resolute revealed their true power. Captain Mercer turned to Arya and Royce. "Today, we have done more than win a battle. We have begun a new era, one where humans are no longer mocked, no longer underestimated, one where humanity is a name that echoes through the galaxy with respect and with caution." The crew of the Resolute stood together, watching the stars. They had faced ridicule, doubt, and impossible odds, and they had triumphed. Their supercarrier, once considered an ancient relic, had become the symbol of human ingenuity and strength. The galaxy would never laugh at humans again.